I told them to leave, my demons depressed. They want me to die, they know I'm a threat. I have a few things to get off my chest. I've been in the darkness, not living the best. Searching for real, I wonder what's next. Pushing my limits, no time for the rest. It can get ugly, I'm willing to bet. Play the wrong cards, you end up in debt.
Welcome to the first episode of the Brothers Compass podcast. Today I'm joined with retired First Sergeant John Flis. We served together back in Iraq, back at 375, probably in 2007. I'm trying to think.
Probably 8. It would have been 8.
No, that was 08. Yeah, that was 08, that deployment where we were actually together. And you introduced me to great cups of coffee.
Yes.
And I'll always credit you for that. So welcome, First Sergeant Flis.
Awesome. Yeah, no, happy to be here. It's, I've been watching some of the stuff you've been doing, so I think it's a great movement and a good step forward to keep this ball rolling. So,
of course,
excited.
man, I appreciate it. And before we really get kicked off, I just want to do a quick disclaimer. There's hundreds of podcasts out there, man. And what I see more than anything is cool guy podcasts, and it's like, you got SF dudes, you got Rangers, you got, all these different, and they're just podcasts about being cool, and this is what I love about you and I is I don't think that either of us have the need to sit here and tell you how cool we are. We want to tell you how to move past that. The goal here is to not keep your identity wrapped up in the cool guy stuff, but to rather begin to move past it and go, I can't live in the past. I can't live in that space of cool guy sliding out of helicopters on ropes anymore. Now I'm just a dad, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, and that's why, John, we've got you today, man. So I appreciate you being here, brother.
Yeah.
So,
I'm too old for the cool guy stuff, so that's why there's an R after the first sergeant, right?
That's right, man. Like, the cool guy still lives up here, but he doesn't have the same knees anymore.
No. I feel the pain before it happens now.
Tomorrow the knees are gonna hurt. Yeah, you just know it.
Yeah.
Well, man, can you give us a little bit of your background story, like what led you to join the regiment and all the things?
So I think, like most of us, we'll call us GWOT babies. I was sitting in high school, 9/11 happened, and that was a big deciding factor. I never really wanted to go to college, but I was going to go anyways. So, I was pretty decent at soccer. Had some pretty good schools around the area that were trying to recruit me, and then 9/11 happened, and I was like, nope, I know what I'm doing. So I went to the recruiter's office. Originally I tried the Marines because I wanted a sword. But the
Love that.
the Marine guy, he was like, man, I can't tell you what, I can't guarantee you anything. You're going to be a Marine. You're a Marine, ooh-yah, or whatever. And I was like, eh. So I took his application. Yeah.
Some crayons.
Yeah. I took his application, threw it out. I walked straight across the hall to the Army guy, sat down, took a couple things, and they're like, dude, yeah, you're awesome. When you want to go to MEPS? It's like, sweet. So I go to MEPS to take all the physical tests and all that stuff, like the day after prom. It tells you how my prom went. And, signed up, all that stuff, took all my tests, did the things and all that. And then it came down for what I want to do. And from day one, it was Airborne Ranger. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to Ranger school.
Did you already know what a Ranger was?
I knew enough.
Okay.
I think Black Hawk Down had just come out a little bit before that.
Yeah.
So I watched that, and I was like, those are kind of like, that's the dudes I want to be around. Like the guys that, like, I don't want to sit and wait for it to come to me. I want to go to it.
Love it.
And it's just that aggression that I want to take the fight. I want to take it to the person, right? So yeah, I went. The MEPS people were like, yeah, sorry, he's like looking around, like, I just got rid of my last Ranger contract, but I got this thing just like a Ranger. It's called military police. Okay. And
exactly the same.
they're 100%. So I called him on it, and I was like, "Nah, dude, not today." It's like, "All right,
Not
fine.
for
Well,
me.
I'm out. I'll go find something else." I go out, talk to the recruiter, and he's like, "All right, well, let's go home. We'll try back again in a week or two." And then I get over the loudspeaker. I heard John Flis, please come to the back. And so I go back in there, and he's like, "Oh, we found this one," and he's like unwrinkling the paper, like he found it
Dude,
smashed behind a drawer.
every time, bro.
Yeah,
Every single time.
he's like, "Oh, we got one left. You can have it." So, anyways,
This one was just for you.
yeah, it's weird. It's behind the McDonald's fry bag over here. Uh,
It was behind the stack of other jobs I had to fill.
yeah, yeah. But so anyway, so I knew right from the bat that's where I wanted to go. So I go in through basic airborne school, straight to RIP. Because we had RIP back in the day. I think I
Oh,
was
yeah.
one of the first 4-week classes. I think they had just started doing 4 weeks. Before it was just 3 weeks of pain and misery. But then
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they added a fourth week, which was marksmanship. Uh,
Ah,
which they gave us like an extra week of some form of marksmanship. I don't know. This would have been about
interesting. What?
2004, spring of 2004.
Oh, four.
I was in RIP.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I was about a year behind you then. Okay.
yeah. Um. So, anyways, got through RIP. What a great experience that was. That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah. Well, that's for another episode.
Yeah, and go through RIP, and they did the classic. I'm sure they did the same thing for you. Like, who wants to go to 275? Run over there. We need 5 guys, and you had to like fight people off to like go places. And
Right. Right. Yep.
I didn't really care. I just stood still, and they were like, "All right,
Right. I'm
you're going to
graduating. I don't care.
375." I'm like, "Sweet." I made
Yeah.
it.
Great.
Uh, yeah, go to Alpha Company. Went through there, got through team leader time in Alpha Company. And then we started up a cool program, canine program, in the regiment. So I was all in on that from day one. I wanted to be a part. Like they took original 4 testers, um, and I had to finish up my team leader time. Like my platoon sergeant was like, "Look, dude, I'll send you, but I need you for this deployment." So deployed as a team leader, and during that deployment, one of the first canine handlers for 375, good buddy of mine, Cody Jones, his dog actually saved my life. Boy. So that was
Wow.
pretty amazing. There was like a hole where some dudes like hid or whatever, but dog was acting crazy. And Cody was like, "Yeah, let's send the dog down there first." And I was like, "Oh, that's a better idea than me crawling through this hole like a tunnel rat in Vietnam." Dog goes in, dog gets, taken care of. We end up taking care of business, all that other stuff. But long story short,
Right.
that just cruelly cemented my love
Absolutely.
for canines on the battlefield. I had it before then, but like
Love that.
that was all it.
Dude, I did
So
not know that story. That's incredible.
yeah, yeah. And so anyway, so then I go back from that deployment, shoot over into HHC with the canine guys. Hung out there for 3-4 deployments. 3-4 years as a canine handler with old Rex, and then had to shoot back over, do my squad leader time. Uh, did squad leader time, kind of fell into a platoon sergeant position, which I was not ready for that position, but like it was like you're gonna take the position or go find someplace else to live, kind of thing.
Right.
And you know, you don't turn down a platoon sergeant job in the regiment. So whether you want it or not, you're taking it.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
So I kind of fell into the
Voluntold.
platoon sergeant role. I think the only reason I had a successful platoon sergeant role was obviously the guys around me. The squad leaders I had were absolutely incredible. I had 2 really good PLs, that I probably, and this gets into some other stuff from later, but I feel like I probably didn't do enough for them as much as they did for me. Uh, but which normally it should be the other way around. But hindsight, looking back at it, like man, like that was a rough time for me during that platoon sergeant role. Um,
Yeah.
but it was successful. It was good. good enough that the leadership gave me another platoon sergeant position, this time as the kennel master for 375. So I went back to the dogs, which was great. That's why I got to be with them for 2 or 3 years. Then the whole uh, Abrams charter thing kind of was being pushed for the NCOs. So I
Yeah,
got asked, since I was a homegrown ranger, I had to go back out to and give time to the regular army to grow and develop,
sure.
which I was all about. I agreed with 100%, because we had a lot of imports. Got guys, we call them imports, but guys that came from the regular army and in to the regiment. And I'll tell you what, they knew army way better than any of us guys that just grew up in the ranger regiment.
Right.
Like, I'm sure your experience was pretty much the same as mine, like counseling and like development and all this other stuff. Like, totally, all we cared about was war, right?
Yep.
That was
That's
it.
it. I mean,
We
and
got
that's
time.
that's what we wanted, but
Yeah,
it made for a not so much a well-rounded soldier.
absolutely, absolutely. And luckily, I got pretty lucky. My entire 20-year career was spent around Fort Benning, Georgia. So,
Yeah.
I promoted, or was promotable, E7, going to E8 promotable, and found a job at Columbus State University as a ROTC instructor. I was only supposed to be there for like a year, but um, in the back of my mind, it was 100% and then some. Everywhere you go, you're going to show that you're the best. You're going to be fully
Right.
committed. And the commander there of the battalion, of the Cougar Battalion. You don't Google that, but
Not advisable.
but the Cougar Battalion, he was like, "Hey, man, I would love for you to stay and take the E8 position." Um, and I kind of was like, "Well, no, man, I got to get back. I got to be a first sergeant in the Ranger Regiment." And then I kind of fell in love with the job at Columbus State. Great people I was working with, helping and coaching and mentoring all the college kids and stuff like that. It was great. So I ended up staying there for about 3 years, did a full term there, and
Oh,
then,
wow.
which was great experience. And then, shot out to, the SFAB, the Security Force Assistance Brigade. So I got an email from, Sergeant Major there that was like, "Hey, if you wanna come back to Benning, we can we can hook you up." And, so I went back to the Security Force Assistance Brigade, which was pretty neat, experience. For anybody that doesn't know, it was designed to help relieve some tension off of like the SS community. Um, so they didn't have to burn as many gears building and maintaining relationships with different agencies around the world, different countries, different government and military groups and stuff like that. We are not. It was not SF. We were not cool guys stuff. It was teaching
Right.
doctrine and
Right.
sharing. Caveat. I, You guys are like, "Oh, we got a special beret. It's cool." Blah blah blah. No, dude, we're not special. We're teaching
We're
doctrine.
not cool, man.
No, no, we're diving into books and we're sharing book knowledge and a little bit of real life experience. Cool.
Look at
Uh,
me. I'm special forces.
yeah, yeah. No, there were some SF guys there, and you could see them. You're like, "No, you guys are cool. We're not."
We, we are not.
But it was a cool experience for me, because I got to hang out at the embassy and do some cool stuff, things I never would have gotten to do before. I was down
Sure.
in Colombia, so that was pretty neat. And then, and that was kind of where I knew my trail was coming. So I was at SFAB for about a year, and I had about 18 months left to figure out what I was going to do. I was starting to get emails about applying for the Sergeant Major's Academy, and like I was eligible and that kind of stuff. And I just couldn't see. I didn't have the internal motivation to continue on as a sergeant major. I was like, man, I would be failing everybody below me because my heart's not totally in it.
Yeah.
Um,
And you're like 18 years in at this point, or
yeah, it was like 18 years ish, and And, I kind of immediately goes back to that platoon sergeant role. Like, I knew mentally or I wasn't mentally prepared to take a platoon as a platoon sergeant. And I feel like I did good enough, but wasn't where I should have been. Right. So now flash
Sure.
forward 18 years, academy's starting to float over my head. People are pushing for it. They're like, oh, you're great. You need to do this, that. And it was just like, man, I don't know about this. And then some other things happened in my life that really wanted to bring me home. Um, and that was a deciding factor. So denied the academy, um, or gave up my option for the academy, threw in my retirement packet and said, this is it. So then I went through the process, which I was lucky because I had chain of command that ended up supporting it. Um, I did a lot of my SFL TAP classes online while in Colombia. So, that was kind of like my final out. And then when I got back from Colombia, held position for a little bit and then just kind of faded out into the sunset. So that's kind of the long story of my retirement and my journey from
Yeah.
young Huya to first start.
Oh, first aren't.
Yeah.
So, man, what was that like? See, I can't even imagine this because, I there's no pretending. I mean, I did one enlistment and got out, like
Yeah.
I went a different path. And so, but what was that like? I mean, you're 18 years in, you're 19 years in, and you've chosen to get out. Um, was it this, hey, thanks for your service, see you later? Like, did you get ostracized for choosing to get out? Or, I mean, was there judgment for rejecting the Sergeant Major Academy?
Yeah. Yeah. No, those are great points. Luckily, and again, I didn't really choose my career timeline. I didn't choose my path. It kind of, the way I see it is it fell in my lap as opportunities and I just picked the right ones.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
so the SFAD thing, was really a unique experience because they were, they were all two-time position holders, right? So in order to be a squad leader or a team sergeant, you had to already have been a platoon sergeant in another unit. So this was your second time coming in, right?
Gotcha.
So to be a
Okay.
first sergeant, you had to be a first sergeant someplace else. To be a sergeant major, a command sergeant major, you had to be a command sergeant major at another battalion before you got chosen for a battalion there. So it was all senior guys and senior individuals,
Sure.
which was really cool because they were all sitting in those same spots. Like most of the CSMs were like, "Nah, man, I just wanted to retire at Benning, so I came here." Thought it was a pretty good mission
Yeah.
scope, and that's where I'm at. Now the brigade CSM at the time, he was an old 275 guy, and he was kind of like, dude, you don't want to retire as a first sergeant. You want stay in, be the sergeant major, go
Right.
do it. Like that's what you need to do. You'd be good at, you'd
Right.
be fine. Um, the battalion CSM, he was like, you should stay in, you should do this. However, if you choose to get out,
Right.
this is what I I I get it. I understand it because I'm right there too. Um, and so it was pretty well accepted.
That's
The
good.
the f- the funny thing is the most kickback I got was from the officer side.
Interesting.
So my the former company commander I worked with in the SFAC, he became the battalion XO, and he was like, "Dude, don't. You need to stay. You need to stay in. You're the NCO. No, you need to stay in." The battalion commander did the same thing. He was like, "Dude, we can't let you go. Like, you gotta stay." Kind of mindset. Which I took as a compliment, but at the same token, like
Sure.
they didn't know. They didn't know how hard it was to tie the boots every morning to go to work. You know what I mean? Like the just drain, the
Right.
demotivation that it hit, the mental anguish of I'm done, but I still have to put on the face to go stand in front of
Right.
a company. So I think for the most part,
Right. Yeah.
it was pretty well accepted.
That's good. That's good. And I think that's kind of a universal thing. Like I've seen that in all the different career fields I've been in since leaving. Like, that everyone has this idea of what your life should look like. They have this idea of like,
Yes.
I'm the one that knows what's best for John, and they're so open and willing to share that with you. And it's like, no, John, you want to stay in. And this is a guy that's already chosen to stay in. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to say the blind leading the blind, but it's like a guy who hasn't gotten out yet saying, "Hey, you should stay in," and he doesn't know the process to get out and all the
Yeah.
things. And so, um, I don't know. Do you think it would have been wise to like seek counsel from maybe somebody who'd been out for a couple of years, or
Um,
someone that had to make that hard decision to get out at a higher rank?
yeah. Well, I mean, to first thing is I'm going to do my classic first round thing here. I'm going to piggyback off of what you just said. Uh,
That's
yeah,
required, man. It's
yeah.
mandatory.
No, but the point is like, yeah, the only people that knew how to get out of the army were the ones that got out of the army. And once they were gone, it was like a cartoon, like a cloud of dust and like just the outline of their body, like through the wall. And that's all you saw. Uh, so you,
Absolutely.
every single person, when it was time to get out, it was like drinking from a fire hose, trying to get out. Um,
Yeah.
and and I took it upon myself to document everything I did. I built like a retirement briefing from all the briefs I got, and I was able to give that to anybody in my battalion that wanted it. Right? Like I had a battalion
Love that.
brief, a company brief, and it was like, hey, look, here's like a legitimate timeline that you need to be looking at when it's time for retirement. This doesn't
Yeah.
apply to anybody else. Yeah, this is retirement planning. And I was at a unit that was, surrounding myself with people at retirement level age, right? For the army.
Right. Right.
Um and for me, looking back at it, are there times where I'm like, man, I was so close to the top. Like I could have been a CSM, I could have been a sergeant major. That would have been cool to say. Yeah, I look back at that and I kind of like, man, I'm so close. I should have done it. I should have just, yeah, rangered
Sure.
up, carried the rock for another couple years, and then been done with it. Uh, but I would say the majority of myself says, man, you made the right decision.
Yeah. Man,
You
and
know?
I think that can go both ways, like, cause I do that too. I do that so often. Like I got invited to go see Command Sergeant Major, Paquette retire.
Oh, nice.
And
Yeah.
like I got invited and I flew down to Savannah and like watched him retire. And watching him, I was having all those feelings of like, man, I should have just stayed in. Like, I like this guy was an incredible leader, is an incredible leader. Like I should have just like he was taking me over from my squad. We were moving over to weapons squad and he was going to have me be one of his gun team leaders. I should
Yeah.
have just kind of stayed with him and followed his leadership, but that's not the path I took. I went to TSE and that's where
Yeah.
we met. And,
Yeah.
but I had all those like regretful thoughts of like, man, I chose the wrong thing. But again, like going back to what you said, dude, I think it is what you make it. I think it's you're seizing opportunities that come your way and you're using them. Um, you're making,
Yeah. Yeah.
lemonade, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're making the best decision off the information that you have at the time, right?
Right.
It's no different than
Right.
being out on target, right? Like your planning phase, this is the information I have. You get on target, you do your recon, whatever it may be. All of a sudden, everything changes and ebbs and flows. And I'm going to try not to make as
Right.
many army references, but that's what we know. So,
No, dude, this is great, man. And this is why and dude, I love that point because this is why after every single mission, you come back and you do an after actions report and you go,
yeah,
hey, this was what the plan was. This is what actually happened. This is what we sucked at. This is what we could have done better. Let's do better next time. And you take that and you apply it to the next thing. And that works in life as well. You go, well, that was a dumb decision. Let's
yeah, yeah,
do better next
yeah.
time.
Well, and I tried to use that through some of my career too. So, like, two of my worst deployments I've ever been on, I got tasked as an L&O. So I had to sit in briefs all day. I had to brief commanders and generals and all sorts of people, and I sucked at it. I mean, there is no way
Yeah.
around it. I was not a great public speaker. I don't like talking to people. Like I'm a dog guy, right? I use body, body motions to let everybody know that I'm standoffish. I show my teeth. Yeah, but but knowing that I sucked at it, and then the opportunity to be a college professor fell into my
Right.
lap, and I'm like, man, I got to take this, and I did it to better myself, because even then, at that point in time, like, whether I was thinking about being a sergeant major or whatever, I knew it was going to come to play. Whether I was in the army or out of the army, that's a good life skill. Like, I have to learn how to stand up in front of somebody and not be so nervous that I'm visibly shaking, like I was for my first
Dude,
L&O brief to, like, the RCO or whatever.
dude, I love it. And I think that's a common theme, dude, that I think is hilarious among like Rangers and SF and Delta guys. They're like, bullets, no big deal.
Yeah.
Public speaking, nope,
Yeah.
can't do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's
You
the
know,
funniest thing, man.
it's like Blazing Saddles. Like, check this out, but this is my shooting
Yeah,
hand. You know what I mean?
that's right.
Yeah.
I love it, man. So, okay, so you go ahead and retire. You make the decision to retire.
Yeah.
So tell me, like, fast forward a little bit and tell me about like where were you a year after you made the decision? Like, where are you in your mental space? Where are you in your career space? Like, what's going on a year after?
Yeah. So I guess we'll let me go a few months before that, but I'll get there.
Sure, sure. Yeah,
so like, I think the biggest thing I learned during the whole out processing thing, expectation management is absolutely key. And the one thing I want to throw in is, I think it was 1,000 times better than probably when you got out from when I got out. On the resources that were
probably,
given, I would imagine. And because
probably,
that's just the way it goes, right? Like, you were given a handbook
dude,
and told you got 24 hours to get your stuff together for CIS, and I'll see you
dude.
Tuesday for sign up.
I was in Tikrit, Iraq, and we flew home. And 30 days later, I was a civilian.
Yeah,
I did it in 30 days. Like running missions at night, going and getting bad guys, gunfights, and 30 days later, I'm a normal
yeah,
guy. You know?
yeah. So I think expectation management is absolutely key. I think, yeah, they've gotten better, but I think where they're missing the mark is they blanket all of the process of getting out. So I'm in a room with
Yeah.
a 28-year
Ooh.
colonel and a
Yep.
private who's getting retired from basic training. So you've got this
Oh,
spectrum
yeah.
of knowledge, life experience, and all this stuff sitting in the same room, where there's a retired, who knows what, civilian now. He's a GS,
Yep.
whatever, who's given a brief, who's trying to get people in the audience to read the slides. Oh, which the slides are just snapshots off of this massive, thick book they give you
Yep.
that I read through myself already, and I'm wasting 8 hours a day sitting there. And there's different needs that need to be met, and they're not getting met. So I think what's missing is a tiered structure in the out processing piece. If you're at
Love that.
full age retirement, here's your briefing. If you're
Love that.
if you're the one contract guy, here's where you're at. And you can
Yeah.
tailor it and meet those, and you put the right people in the position to give the class and preach it.
Dude, and how when you think about it, how simple is that? Like,
Yeah,
you build it from the ground up and go, E1 to E3, here's your process. You
yeah.
know,
L- I mean,
NCOs, here's your process.
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, they're sitting there, and there was a lot of stuff that I tiered out of. So they do look at your how long you've been in, and they're like, all right, well,
Okay.
you're a 20-year-old guy or a 20-year guy retiring. You probably don't need to go to the how do I balance my checkbook class, right? Like, you don't need to go to that one.
Right.
I think you're okay.
Hopefully.
Yeah. If not, well, you're in for a surprise. But, just like, you got to check out some of that stuff. And then, like, I already had my master's degree by the time I was retiring. So it was like,
Yeah.
I don't need to go. I'm not sitting in the the class on how to go to college type thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't need that one. So I got
Right.
to tier out of that stuff. But some of the main structured things like, you know, the kid that's med boarding, he's got a completely different process than, somebody else, or first term
Absolutely.
contract guy who didn't get a chance to, deploy for whatever reason, that or the other. He's going to have a different plan than the 28-year retiring colonel. So
100%. Yes.
that's my, I'm off the soapbox now, and I'll answer your question now.
Okay. Hey, man, this is good because
Yeah,
these are things that other people are going to encounter, and that's what this is about. Like,
yeah, yeah,
this is about awareness.
I had the luxury. So they have this is great. It's a CSP program, and the initials are driving off. I can't remember what the acronym stands for, but basically, it's an opportunity for you to jump into a company and do an internship through them. I dug
Okay.
into the fine print, and I found out that you can make your own internship. Right? You just got to do a little
Okay.
bit of extra paperwork. You got to actually do your own legwork to get into it. So I built my own internship with a company where we wanted to live. So um, my wife and I are
Love
kind
that.
of from the same area, so we decided we were going to move back. So we bought a piece of land, um, started building a house, and there's a dog training company that I reached out to the owner, and I said, "Hey, moving back, I'm retiring out of the army. This was my previous history and working with
Right.
dogs
Here's
and
my
certificates
credentials.
I have. Here's what I got." Basically, a little resume. Interviewed with her, and she was like, "Yes, I want. Yes. What do I have to do to get you
Of
here?"
course she was.
And
Of
and
course
I
she
was
was.
like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, here you go. I just need you to sign here, date this, tell me, blah blah blah." And I built an internship packet, turned it into Fort Benning, and they went, "Yep, this is good." So I got to a 90-day internship. So I got 90 days to move and be out of the army, still getting paid by the army, but starting to work my job from when my 90 days was up, shot back down to Benning, officially signed out,
Yeah.
and then came back and was already and then started taking a paycheck from the company.
Dude, I love that. Hey, can we pause right there for a second? I
Yeah,
just want to, I want to highlight the fact that you took massive action. Like you dug into the
yeah,
process. You did all this research. You discovered you could build your own internship. And I think a lot of guys that get out across all levels, no matter what your rank is, I think there's this unfair and unrealistic expectation that
yes,
the world is just going to know your value. So you're going to get out and like companies are going to be fighting over you because you're a
yes,
veteran. They don't care. Like they don't know about you. They don't know what any of your military stuff means. They don't care. Uh,
correct.
there is a there's a civilian dude that's been doing that job for 20 years, and like it's so I love the fact that you took massive action and kind of made it happen for yourself. Like you had to it's kind of like going to CIF or going to deal with any of the contracting civilians. Like you have to know the answer for them
Right.
um, before they ask the question.
Yeah. Well, that
Um,
was CIF. I was turning in stuff that was BDU, and they were like, "We
yeah,
don't even have this in our catalog." And I was like, "Well, here's the part number. Here's the thing. Just tag
right.
it, save it for later." And they were like, okay."
Yeah, this is
Like,
this is what I was given,
yeah,
and it's very much that way. Like you have to. No one's gonna fight over you. No one's
of
gonna.
course.
No two companies are gonna be going. Oh, I want John Flis, and I want John Flis. Like
No.
you're just another dude at that point, truthfully.
Yeah.
And you're a high caliber guy from an elite organization in the military, but no one's fighting over you. And so they're not gonna it just doesn't happen. You have to create your own pathway. Anyway, we
Yeah.
can we
Well,
can
yes, and
unpause.
and again to piggyback, the that
That's
that's the
two. You're
yeah,
only
that's
allowed
too.
two.
I'm only, it's not, but that's the big thing is like, everybody assumes, well, and I keep saying sergeant major. No offense to sergeant majors out there listening, but like, well, I'm a sergeant major. I've owned or I've run battalions, brigades, whatever it is. I should jump straight in at high level corporate management and this
Sure.
stuff. Like, yeah, you've got credentials on how to team build, how to work with people, how to solve problems, and all that other stuff, but you've proved it outside of the organization that you're going into. They still want
Right.
buy-in and trust and built from your organization. You may have to start
Absolutely.
2 or 3 levels below, but I'll tell you,
Yeah.
just like the Army, if you're a hard charger, you're gonna progress fast.
Absolutely, man. It's absolutely nothing to blow past your peers in this civilian world because it's like you have if you have that mindset and you do attack
Yeah.
it like that, you'll blow past everybody.
And that's on my notes here, and it goes back to that expectation management. I mean, you have to gain the foothold. You have to make the breach and get in the
Absolutely.
first room. If that means
Love it.
you're making pennies, then you're making pennies, but you're gonna be
Absolutely.
through that house and it's gonna be cleared and secured before you even know it. So,
Yep. And it's only a matter of time before upper management takes notice of that. Like, this dude is crushing it. Like, no, and I'm talking about the smallest detail.
oh,
Like,
it's not hard.
the
It's
small.
not
I'm
hard in
talking
the
about.
civilian world.
No, no, it's not. But it, like, and like, here's something. Here's one of my pet peeves, man. Like, if someone says, "Hey, I have my own company," and they send me an email from a Gmail account,
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't have your own company,
No.
bro. You don't even have a
No.
real email address. And what does your signature line look like? And I know that's petty and tiny, but bro, if you're not
Yeah.
taking care of those minute details, then you're not going to take care of the big ones. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. A well-made signature block tells me everything.
just be professional,
Like,
please help
it's the
me.
dumbest thing, but I'll tell you, it means the world because it's care. It's the details, right? The attention to detail. I
Absolutely.
do the small stuff good,
Also,
which builds, right?
yeah, that's right. That's right. And another side note for if you're out of the military and you've been out of the military, please don't sign your emails with VR. No one knows what that means
Yeah.
except for us.
Yeah. 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 Um, anyways, yeah. So,
Just hey,
but
these are
yeah,
free nuggets of
yeah,
wisdom.
that's bam, tossing them out there. Yeah. So to answer your question, 1 year later, so where was I? You know, 1 year out from the retirement, I was backlogged a lot with VA disability claims, that kind of
Yep.
stuff. That took a while. I will say I was proactive on that and stayed with it. I called probably once every couple weeks, got somebody every now and then they get tired. Like one time I actually got the same person twice, which was weird. I didn't expect that. They're like, wait, didn't you
Yeah.
call like last week? Yeah. It still hasn't moved. Okay. Well, it's stuck here. And, maybe somebody told me some stuff they weren't supposed to, but I found out where the sticking point was. And I called that place particularly myself. Like,
Love it.
hey, um,
This is First Sergeant Flis.
no, 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 not like that.
Yeah, I know.
But
I know.
you're like, I'm the
That'll get you nowhere
decrepit
real quick.
I'm the decrepit old guy that you won't help. Yeah, no.
Right.
um, but no, I mean, it's just being proactive, doing your things, and getting on it. But once that all kind of came through, the company I was working for, I still do guest training appearances for. I'm actually teaching a class right now on odor imprintation for personal pets and scent work stuff
Nice.
for behavioral thing. I got a whole thing going on, but I kind of went into the boss and I was like, hey, like the pay's good, but I don't need it for the hours that I'm missing at home. So I retired out of the
Absolutely.
army to not be gone all the time. And I was
Absolutely.
working weekends and evenings because when's everybody else off work and they got a chance to train their dogs and the workings
Yep.
and evening or the weekends and evenings. And I was
Right.
missing birthdays still. I was missing all that stuff. Um, so I just said, I'm done. Um, and that kind of was a really kind of like a sigh of breath of relief that I've got money coming in, house bills, everything's taken care of. Uh, I'm at home. I can be, my kids need a person to uh, chaperone for a school event. I can be there. I can take them to school, pick them up. That was great. But it quickly spiraled out for me. I think too much freedom was a bad thing, right? Like, that's like, we always had a joke that, you know, lock leave, right? They pick those like 15 days, 16 days on
Yeah.
purpose because if you take like 19 to 20 days, that's where you start to lose your mind and forget everything you've learned prior to it.
Yeah.
Because you have
Yeah.
too much time to think, and then you start getting in trouble.
Yep.
Um, I wouldn't say I got addicted to anything, but I definitely got too comfortable with alcohol. It was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I had nothing to do for the day. So, hey, cracking a beer open at 11 or
Why not
whatever.
make it
And
a great day?
yeah, right. And then you're just hanging out or,
Yeah.
um, oh, what's the movie? Mr. Mom. That's what it is. Guy comes over and he's like, "Hey, man, you want a beer?" And he's like, "Dude, it's 9 o'clock in the morning." And he's like, "Oh, scotch then?" Like, right? Like, you know, y- you just get comfortable with it, and then you start getting yourself in trouble, and then you start missing things, and then I got a wife and kids, and then wife starts to notice, like, "What are you doing? Like, you're not going to sit at home and do this all day." And so then it became real simple. Like, okay, well, I need to have a purpose in my life, and I'm still trying to find it.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's a lot
Dude,
easier
I'm
when
so
it's
glad
kind
you
of
said
given
that,
to
man.
you. But for now, that year passed. It was everything's set and done. Kits off. The Connex is banded. We're shipping home from deployment. Right, like that was the feeling of
Right.
it's all done and over.
Yeah.
Um, but there was no plan for the next training cycle. Right, so it's just a gap.
Ooh.
It's just an empty feeling of what next. Right.
Yeah, there's this chasm of there's nothing planned. There's because you're used to, and dude, I can't even imagine. Like I did it for 4.5 years. You did it for 20, and you've got all these years of somebody telling you where to be, what to wear, what the goal is, what the mission is. What's happening after that,
Yeah.
what you're eating. Yeah, everything is taken care of. Everything, and so
Yeah.
you literally don't make decisions for yourself. And as you grow higher in rank, that changes. But um, I,
Well,
I think that's what
there's
creates.
there's always guidance from higher. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
like, I mean, even the president's getting told what to do at some point in time.
Right, right. But then we get out and there's no one telling us all that stuff. And all of a sudden we're back in charge of our own lives and we've had this hope and this excitement of, "Oh, this is going to mean freedom for me getting out. This is going to be so amazing." But the freedom is dangerous, man. Like if you're not structured and you don't set a purpose, you don't set a goal, something that you're going after, like
Yeah.
you're going to spiral really quickly.
Yeah. And then that was like the hard thing because, for me, well, I go back to school for what? I got a master's degree and a bachelor's degree just hanging on the wall for what?
Right.
What do I go back to school for? You know, I'm not working or doing anything. And then it became, well, oh, I'm here for my family and my kids. Well, there's still, 8 hours a day that I don't have necessarily them to deal with, right? Or to take
Right. They're
care
in
of or to
school.
be with or whatever. So what do I do with my time? Well, I'm still working out, I'm still getting this done, but there's no actual task. There's no fulfillment in necessarily doing something simple when you come from something so intense.
Absolutely right. And
So
and I think that that does make it even more difficult is when when you pair all that, like not having to make decisions, but also coming from an environment where you are literally running on adrenaline all the time,
yeah.
going to an environment where you're not and it's not required, is dude, it's like a funeral. Like it's like attending your own funeral.
Yeah.
Um, like I didn't know what was happening. Like when I finally separated, so I did my enlistment and then I contracted for 4 years after that. So like, but when I finally separated from the war and was like, this is my line in the sand, I'm done, I'm coming home for good. Dude, it did not take long at all for me to spiral because I was just like,
Yeah.
I'd have no idea what to do with myself. And I don't know where I'm going in life. I don't know what to do. I didn't think about any of this stuff.
Yeah.
I was done. Um, and so yeah, dude, that's why it's imperative, man, to have a plan. Like that's something I'm working on right now is to develop this structure and plan for guys they need to be thinking about this stuff 12 months before they get out, before
Well,
they ever separate.
oh, oh man, I mean that's I'll have to send you my brief here, but I started 36 months out. You know what I mean? 3 years out, like
Wow.
that's where you're starting to think like, and I didn't do it that far out, but that's Army tells you 36 months, whatever. But I sit back and I agree with it. Like if you're 3 years out from your last contract or close to that retirement time frame, that's where you need to start going, okay, do I want to get out? Do I want to stay in?
Right.
Do I still want to live in the area that we're currently at? Or do I want to make one more move through the army and go someplace else or whatever it may be? Um, are we financially set for it? Do I have a plan? Like, what would I want to start doing? And that's where and it's all brainstorming stuff. This is just jotting it down in a
Absolutely.
journal, writing things down, starting to find the problems that you need to sort through. And then,
Dude,
like that 24-month mark out, okay, let's go back and circle through and figure out where we're sitting. And then that 12-month mark out, if you've decided you're getting out, like all hands on deck, that's your primary job.
absolutely. Love that, man. And I'm so glad you said that, man, because particularly the sitting with yourself and journaling part, because that's something that we don't do. That's something that
Oh,
I wouldn't say it's frowned on, but it's not like made to be a priority. Like you have to get very comfortable sitting alone with yourself and your own thoughts and writing them down on
yeah.
paper, going, who even am I without all of this stuff? Like once this uniform comes off and I'm no longer First Sergeant Fliss,
Yeah.
who am I? And I think you did a good job at maintaining your identity apart from the military. I did not. Like I did a really poor job at separating the two. And so cuz I just fully bought into it. Like I joined as a young kid, like didn't know who I was before the army, and the army told me who I was, and so I just kind of
Yeah.
carried that on. And when I got out, I didn't know who I was without it, you know? And so I love the idea that you're talking about being
Yeah.
willing to sit alone with with your own thoughts, with your own self, and be okay with that, and write it down.
Yeah.
And
And I
you
mean,
have to rediscover yourself.
yeah, and that's 100% it because like, I'm you sit there and you start figuring out things like, man, what do I want to do? Right. And here's the other fun part. It's not the army. You're not in it for the rest of your life. You're not in it for a set contract. And oh, by the way, there's an inactive reserve time. So we could call you back to this job anytime over the next 4 years after you get out. No,
Right.
there's none of that. It's, hey, you know what? I want to try to be a car salesman. Cool. Go try it. Do it.
Yep.
If you're starting to not like it or it doesn't become that thing that you thought it would be, okay, well, let me start figuring out again. Like, what did I like about that job? What did I not like about it? Okay, well, let me go find
Right.
something else then. It's okay.
Yeah.
I saw something and I'm going to get the stats and the numbers all wrong. Because I got a horrible memory, but the average person has like 30 something different careers. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, whatever the stat is, like, it's okay to shift and change, especially if
Absolutely,
you're
man. And you
like, whether you're just getting out or you've done the army thing for a whole time. I mean, like, I retired at 39, right? I'm 41 right
yeah.
now. You do a million things, man. I currently work like 4 different part-time jobs just because.
Right. Right. And I
So,
think that's smart, man. Like it keeps you busy, keeps you doing stuff, and it helps you discover more about yourself. Like I do like this, I don't like this. Um, and that's something I'll share a little bit. That's something that I'm working on. Like I've gone down this rabbit hole. I've gone down this pathway of what are the components, like what are the tenants, the non-negotiables of a happy and satisfying life. You know, what are those things? And if you think about like a compass rose in your mind, and you think of true north on this compass, dude, it's identity. Your true north has to be your identity. It has to be, you have to know who you are in and of yourself, what values you have, and that's how you navigate through the rest of your life, is applying these values and these morals that you have internally set for you, apart from how your parents raised you, apart from what your church tells you you should be, apart from what the military said you were. You have to decide, I'm comfortable living life this way and walking through life this way. That's your identity. That's your true north, right? Um, and then I'll just blast through these real quick. Like the eastern side, if you go to the east of the compass rose in your mind, that's your purpose. Now you know who you are, but where are you going? Now you know who you are. I got to figure out where I'm going. And then the south and the west are resilience. How do I bounce back when life gets hard, when this isn't fun anymore? How do I recover? And then
Yeah.
the west part of the compass is connection. It's relationship. It's who am I walking with? Now I know who I am and where I'm going, and I know how to recover when life gets hard. But who am I doing life with? And dude,
Yeah.
those four, the northeast, south, and the west, those are like the compass rose of life, man. It's like you have to rediscover those particular things when you're coming out of the military, and it's a lot of self-reflection, and it sucks. It's hard.
Yeah. 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 It absolutely is. And again, what I went through when I got out, 1,000 times better than what you went through. Uh, but, but I'll tell you, it's 100% missing the mark. Um,
Yeah.
because it goes back to that mindset of, I don't know what I don't know. So all I get from you is what I think is all I need to know. So when you go to these briefs
Yeah.
and these guys just run through this stuff and they teach it or tell you as if you already know all the stuff. So if you're not picking up some of those key phrases and going, "Whoa, time out, I got a question. What does that mean? I don't know what these acronyms are. I don't know this stuff." And it's being confident in yourself to ask the questions. Because if
Right.
you're a 20-year retired dude and you don't know what some of these acronyms are, I guarantee you that first timer E3 that's getting out, he ain't gonna know what it is. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and you're only helping each other out. And that ties
Yeah.
to the biggest piece, I think, that is the most helpful is you cannot do it alone. 100%.
Absolutely.
You have to have somebody, whether it's a close friend, family, a mentor, like find somebody that is going to help guide you through this. Um,
Absolutely, man.
and like my wife has been the absolute solid rock for me in this whole process. And without her, I'd probably be in the ditch outside. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you gotta have somebody
And
with you.
likewise, man, that person for me was my wife, or is my wife. And dude, I've given her every reason to leave,
Oh, yeah,
um,
yeah,
but but she has stayed and helped me, and through that, it's given me this purpose of, hey, I've had enough time to self reflect and lick my wounds, and like figure this out a little bit, to where I can put it together and go, hey, guys getting out need a compass. Cause that's
yeah.
when I think of
Well,
my spiral, it was like, I felt like I was like in enemy territory, or like lost somewhere with no compass. And I literally could not, you know, figure a way out. And what I needed was what you just said. I needed
yeah,
a mentor. I needed somebody who had been out before me going, "Hey dude, this is the direction you need to go. You need to figure out who you are, bro. If you don't
yeah,
know who you are, then none of this other stuff matters. Your job doesn't matter. Your career field doesn't matter if you don't know who you are." You
yeah.
know?
And
Um,
that's funny because I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this, but I have a necklace that's a compass rose.
dude, I
Uh,
love it, man.
and it's just to stay the course, man. Stay the course, right? And that
Absolutely,
and
man.
that's what it is. That's just my daily reminder of, there's a purpose in life that's bigger, greater than you are. Um, and you have to find your purpose for the day to get to the next day. Uh,
Absolutely.
and that's kind of the way I take it is, once I'm doing something and I'm like, man, is this going to help me stay on course? Or am I going to be lost out there on Yankee North, you know, and getting chased by
Right,
pigs,
right.
right? So,
Right.
right?
No, that's beautiful, man. And really, I love that. I love this idea that how paramount purpose is. Like you have to have it. And you go, well, how do I figure out purpose? What, and it dude, that all goes back to your identity and your
Yeah.
values. and I've got a bunch of tools I can share, on how to discover purpose. But really, you look at the world around you and go, what mark do I want to leave on the world? And it moves from purpose to vision. You know, a vision should supersede your lifetime, right? Like John Fliss's impact in the world should go way beyond your lifetime, and it should impact your children and their children, you know. And that's a massive vision for your life and your legacy,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then you derive your purpose out of that.
Well,
So
and you look at where we've come from, right? I mean, when you think of U.S. Army Ranger, what's the first thought that comes to mind? Probably some dude getting shot at scaling a cliff at Point du Hoc, right?
right,
Like I will
right,
be the greatest member of this generation, and that's the legacy that you stand on, right? And that's what you want to. You've
yeah,
become. That's your purpose while you're there. Is to live up to those guys, right? Um,
right,
and I think that desire, whether you're a tanker or whatever you may be coming out of the military or whatever it is, you have somebody's shoulders that you're standing on. So when you get out, there's that lost time frame in your mind of what's next, right? How do
yeah.
I'm not a tanker anymore. I'm not a Marine, even though they are always a Marine. I saw they signed
Right.
that little
It's that's
affidavit,
a that's a huge online feud, by the
but
way.
but but I mean, but I love that mindset, right? Like once a Marine, always a Marine, because you're living that mindset in a time where you need that mindset.
Right. Absolutely.
So
Yeah, and I think that's beautiful, man. And my take on it is, there's elements that there are absolutely elements of being an Army Ranger, of being a Marine or whatever. There are elements that you can carry with you into civilian life and
yeah,
go, this is what I learned and it formed me into this. And these are good things that I can apply to my life. But there are also pieces of that you have to let go. Um,
absolutely, absolutely.
there are pieces, and it's hard, dude, because like there's it's hard coming to the realization that I'll I'll never jump out of an airplane onto an airfield again.
Yeah,
I'll never kick a door in again. Um, there's pieces of it that you have to let go of, and it varies because there's goods and bads to it.
yeah. Well,
So
and I think part of it is just going back to your just description of the compass, right? Is like everything you're a part of, everything you've ever done is impacting and influencing your north, right?
yep, yeah,
And you've got to pick and pull those things that are going to help you stay to the north. Dreaming
yep,
about, being a jump master, throwing dudes out of an aircraft onto an objective, and that poor sucker carrying the Carl Gustav trying to waddle out the door. Like, no, that's not going to keep
yeah,
you on your true north, right? What's going to
yeah.
keep you on your true north is the values you learn from being a jump master, right? The attention to
That's
detail,
right.
you know, the the honor in being that person that is managing that aircraft on the Army side, right? Like those are the things that you need to pull and keep. The other stuff, yeah, those are just fun
Absolutely,
stories, but you can't hold on to it because that's going to cut
absolutely,
and it's going to continue to burn well after, and it's not helpful
right.
for you in your future.
Yeah, you can't live in that space of going like I had a friend, another Ranger buddy, and like years after he had gotten out, he would still say, "I jump out of planes and kill people."
Yeah.
And no, you don't, man.
No.
Like
No.
you used to,
Yeah.
and that's okay. Like we used to do it, but now we don't, and now we're trying to move on with our lives and be something better. And dude, I think that's the greatest way to honor the legacy of being a Ranger or being a Marine or wherever you come from. I think, and that's why it's on my walls, dude. Like
Yeah.
the way I live my life is the way that I honor the legacy of the organization and those that have died that didn't get to come home. Like
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about those guys. I owe it to them to become
Uh-oh.
the best version of myself. I owe it to them to become the best dad, to become the best husband, to excel in my life, like I owe it to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think that's the biggest thing too is, through the whole process of getting out, I keep telling myself, I don't want to just be a leech on society. I want to be a productive
Yeah,
member of society. Right.
absolutely.
And I think it goes back to those values that you learn. Right.
Yep,
Do I agree that every Army value, Ranger value is the most? Nah. Like there's other places you can pull values from that build you and make you
absolutely.
stand where you stand. So, I think it's great. You put it in the kit bag because you're going to need it someday, but you know,
Absolutely, man.
it may not be always what's driving you forward.
Yeah. I do love what you said about how those values that make you who you are they are subject to change, and it's okay if they change. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I was digging through my old army box, like right over here. It's got all my like memorabilia in it and stuff. I was digging through it, and dude, I found all my letters from basic training, like that
Oh
the
yeah.
family had sent me, that my wife had sent me. And so I I started reading one of the letters, and dude, it tore me apart because like the things that she was saying in this letter, I was like, man, I was such a piece of crap. Like I was such a piece of garbage, and I was treating her wrong. And dude, the values that made me who I was then have changed drastically to
Yeah.
who I am today. And it's supposed to be that way. It's this
Yeah.
process. It's not a destination, it's the journey, right?
Right. It's growth and
So dude,
development.
absolutely. So I had to go in and apologize to my wife. I was like, "Hey, remember that letter you sent me in basic training 20 years ago?" And she's like, "No." I'm like, "Well, anyway, I'm sorry for being me."
Yeah. I'm sorry for who I was, and thank you for
I'm
looking past it.
sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And
yeah,
and
man, it's
and I think the other biggest thing too is like I think we've said it a couple times, but just being okay to just sit in the still and the quiet and just
yeah.
accept the small things as being big things, right? So
Oh, yeah.
like being able to go to a kid's sporting event, right? Daughter playing
Yep.
soccer or just playing catch in the backyard. Like those little things, um, those are huge moments that you need to be
Absolutely.
there for.
Yeah, man. Because what do you when we're in the military, what are we daydreaming about? We're daydreaming about being out of the military.
Yeah.
We're daydreaming about what we're gonna do when we go back home. And and it's funny, man, because a lot of people do get out and go back home, and it's not home anymore
No.
because they're not the same anymore. The people learned and they adjusted and they learned to live life without you, and you're no longer even close to the same version of yourself that you were. You've been changed, you've been transformed, you've
Yep.
been, dare I say, brainwashed. and and you got to fix it, you
Yeah.
know? And that's this is another side note I wanted to hit. Like your healing and your journey is solely your responsibility. Like I hate this victim mentality that a lot of veterans have. They get out and they go, well, the VA is not doing this for me, and so is not doing this for me. And if we're not careful, we can really buy into this victim mentality instead of going, what you did, going, I'm going to own it. I'm going to know the answer before I even go and figure it out.
My bad.
Yeah, there you are.
Okay. Sorry. I just saw the cable company car drive down the street. Wonder if they're working on the internet up the road.
Uh-oh.
But anyways,
Oh,
might have to
I
edit
think
that
we'll be
part.
okay. I think it records locally.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
I will be okay.
yeah, yeah, and I think the other big part is we're used to like yeah. I just got a message. There's a network repair issue in your area.
Of
But
course there is.
uh, I think the biggest thing is when you leave, you think I was leading all these people and we went into war and combat and this is the biggest thing in the world. No, man, being at home and being able to sit at dinner and have a conversation about the day, that becomes your new large impact on the world, and it goes to your legacy and what your kids are
Oh,
going to remember and all that other stuff, right? Um, and
absolutely, man.
and that's just like the things that you really have to come to grips with. Like, for a while there, I was struggling so hard with what I'm currently doing isn't good enough. I'm not doing enough
Yep.
to be who I was or what I should be, and I have this misconception of what I should be. But I'll tell you what, my kids get out the door on time to school. They've got lunches packed, a belly full with breakfast. I've packed my wife's lunch.
Yep.
I've got, dinner ready in the crock pot or whatever it may be. House is clean. My wife doesn't have to come home and vacuum, dust, make dinner. Laundry's getting done. Mostly it usually lives in a basket because I hate folding, but that's a different
Dude,
thing I gotta
that's my
fix.
nemesis.
But but like those things absolutely have changed my wife's day, my kids' day, and have made their lives so much easier. Like that's the impact you have. It may not be, liberating a country, uh, from a tyrant,
Right.
but it's freeing up everybody else to have those moments that now you can spend together or at a ball game or whatever it may be.
Right. Right. Dude, and just it's your presence. It's your presence. You're actually being present, not just at the dinner table. You're showing up for your wife, for your kids in the cleaning of the house, in the packing of the lunches. Like
Yeah.
you are fully present. And by no stretch of the imagination is it easy to switch into that role and
No.
go, I was jumping out of planes and slide out of helicopters on ropes. And now I'm packing lunches and now I'm Mr. Soft Guy, and it's not that. It's not some jab or some bad thing, towards your ego. It's a beautiful change. It's a beautiful transition if you allow yourself to make it. And a lot of
Yeah.
guys um tend to stay in that space and try to live their military identity in the civilian world. And that's a lonely life, man.
Yeah. You gotta let it go. Like,
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
that's like you can enjoy it and you can and have your moments with it and all that kind of stuff, but at the same token, like you cannot live solely off of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I remember there was a there was a sermon that I heard one time in church as a kid, and the title of the sermon was "Living on Leftovers," like the idea that you
Phew.
can't live on this experience that you had a long time ago. And it fully applies here. Like you can't live on leftovers forever. Like you bake the Thanksgiving turkey, and you
Yeah.
eat it on Thanksgiving Day, and then you maybe make sandwiches with it the next day, maybe get one more day out of it. But pretty soon you can't live on that leftover forever. Like it's gonna last you a little bit, but
Yeah.
you can't keep eating it.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, and I think you gotta put effort into yourself. You have to take time for yourself. I
Ooh,
think having a
yep.
chance to just I jumped straight out, and it was great because that first year when I was out, I did the internship. I did everything I had to do. I was running and gunning still, staying full bore busy. Um, and then when that all kind of stopped, that was my chance to just kind of really take the breath and just be like, well, what's next? And
Yeah.
how do I how do I attack this on a different mindset? And it took me still taking the time of who am I? What do I want to be? And what do I want to try?
Right.
What do I want to try?
Exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the beauty of it, man, is you do have the ability to try whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like you did your time and you got out and now you can adjust fire really quickly. So, you know, it,
Yeah.
you try something, you don't like it, well, that's not for me. I'll do something else.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the hardest thing I think for me to figure out was like, it's okay to tell people no as well, having your boundaries.
Oh yeah,
Cause I think
absolutely.
when I was like fully retired and wasn't really doing much, sitting at home and stuff like that, you get people, oh, can you do this? Can you jump in and do that and do this and help me with this? And like, yeah, sure. Okay. Now I'm pulled so many different directions that, that's really starting to wear on me too. So it's
Absolutely,
okay to say
man.
no.
And dude, I love that point that you're making because it falls to self-care and like and I think guys like me and you, guys from the special operations community, soldiers in general, Marines, like there's so many people that have that mindset that I need to continue to be a sacrifice for other people.
Yeah.
I need to continue to sacrifice myself, my wants, needs, and desires for everybody else. And dude, that becomes crushing extremely quickly. Um,
Yeah.
and then it leads to resentment, and so you have to find the thing like, and dude, and this is sad. I had to go to counseling to learn that. Like I had to go
Yeah.
to counseling for my counselor to go, hey, what are you doing for fun? And I was like, it was such a weird question to me because I was like, fun? I don't
Yeah.
have time for fun. I can't be doing anything fun. Um, I have this responsibility. I got this. I got this. I got this. I got this. There is no time for fun. And she was like, well, I'm going to tell you this right now and like explain to me where fun, fell in the human needs
Yeah.
area. And she's like, if you're not having fun, then you're going to live a miserable life.
Yeah.
So the only thing I could come up with at the time was I love being in the woods. Like I love being in the woods and I don't want to hunt anything. I just want to be in the woods and sit there. And she was like, okay, well, you need to go to the woods at least an hour a week, you know, go sit in the woods. And so, dude, I started and that was difficult carving the time to give myself 1 hour. I felt so guilty, dude, for
Yeah.
taking 1 hour a week to go and sit in the woods. But dude, I'll say this, that's when my healing journey really truly began,
I,
taking that hour of
I'm,
reflection.
I'm totally with you on that. It was the same thing in counseling. It was like, well, I'm doing it. Well, what are you doing? Well, what do you mean? What am I doing? Like, I have to work out. Like when I started like not working out and missing workouts, like it hurt. Like I was like losing my mind and it became such a stress that it was no longer my getaway piece. Right. Um, and
Yeah,
then, and, being okay with missing a day, like doesn't matter. I'm, I'm in shape for the long haul. There's no end date. Like I don't have an RPAT coming up. I don't have like, these things that are gonna, I have a PT test or whatever. It's not. There's nothing to it. If I miss a day, I miss a day. Don't have to stress about it. And then the next thing was like,
right.
it's okay to take a day and do nothing. It's fine.
Yeah,
Because what does that hurt? Oh, laundry didn't get done today. Well, guess what? If I would have done laundry today, there's still clothes in the basket tomorrow, right?
absolutely right.
Like,
Absolutely right.
so I think the one day like the it I still struggle, but like, you know what? I'm gonna watch YouTube all day and play some video games, and that's my day today.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
being able to sit and do that
And
like
I think there's a
completely changed it. Now it's not every
absolutely, man.
day. I
I
don't do that
definitely
every day. I still have to have purpose and a
right,
task because that's a dangerous slippery slope to
right.
take
There's
you
a
the other
balance.
way, right? But you get
Exactly right. Yeah,
you
dude, you got to find that balance.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. You're getting all choppy and grainy, so I'm sorry if I'm talking over you.
Oh, that's all right. That's they're working something on my internet.
Um,
Go figure.
right. Today of all days.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I
um,
mean, I think my final thought is, you know, there's no pattern. There is no cookie cutter easy button that gets you through the process. I think every single person has a unique and altered experience uh, as they transition out, right? So your experience was way different than my experience.
yeah.
than anybody else's experience. I've said it before, like that tiered process, I think would totally help out uh, to a point. But at the same token, even within that
Yeah,
process, you have to do the work to figure out what's going to work for you.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's difficult to even get in that mindset because you're still in that place of being told what to do, and you're in this awkward position of like, I'm still being told what to do, but I'm supposed to be starting to think for myself. And it's hard to make that switch over in your brain. But and that is what I'm working on right now. Like I've got a framework that I'm building out, like a coaching program to take guys, you know, from, hey, you're Mr. Army, you're Mr. Marine, you're Mr. Whatever. Um, Now we need to tap back into who you are, find what your purpose is, like what's going to fuel you, what's going to fire you up, help you discover that. Um, Teach you some resilience techniques, some CBT to deal with your issues. Um, and then make sure you're connected with, because like you said, you can't do it alone. You got to be connected with a community somewhere.
Yeah.
And so anyway, and that's still developing. I'm still working on all that, but that's kind of what's coming for Brothers Compass anyway.
Well, definitely think it's needed. I don't, the VA's great. It does what it can. There's resources out there, but at the same token, I don't think there's ever enough. Um,
Yeah. Well, and I also think there are, like you said, there's boatloads of resources, but there's hardly any structure or organization to them. So guys like get out and they just get shotgun blasted with,
well, yeah.
here's a paper with all the resources, and you're like, well, I don't even know where to start.
Well, yeah, and I would agree with that. And I think that's where, I mentioned before, I built a brief on getting out because I sifted through as much as I could. I was like, listen, here's the most important things you need to focus on. Everything else, and again, it's my opinion on what those are, but
Yeah.
like this is what helped me get set up to at least hit the ground running and gain the foothold in the civilian world. And then from there,
Yeah. Yeah.
here's some other things that you can look at, and here's all the resources for you to go back into. But these are the highlighted pieces that you need to really focus.
Yeah. I love that, man. Is that something that, like, there's nothing classified or anything like that. Is that
Yeah.
something that you'd be willing to share?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'll
'Cause
send it to you. Um,
I'm wondering if it's something that we can, like, link, and if people want it, they can just download it.
yeah, I mean, like I said, I'll shoot it to you and you can look over it. And again, it's probably all changed. It's been, 2 years. I'm sure there's some outdated stuff, but it should take you at least to some links that should show you the updated documents and those kinds of things. So,
Yeah. I mean, that it's probably gonna be a valuable resource to
yeah.
people that are,
And and
in
the
that process where you were 2 years ago.
and the best part is, I made it on a PowerPoint with that is the most un-army backgrounds and everything possible. Like I made it super fun and like there's colors in it and
It has colors?
it's not 12 point or 12 font Arial text only or whatever your commander's yelling at before the brief. Like
Yeah, there's no OD green in it?
no, yeah, no, no, there's quotes and fun things and links to click.
Dude, every active duty sergeant major or first sergeant, like, their eyes are twitching right now, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, like I gave the brief in my battalion classroom before I left. Like, was one of my final things. I came back in and gave it to everybody. And first thing was the commander that was sitting in there. He was like, "Did those slides all have different font sizes?" I'm like, "Yep." Welcome to
what
civilian
is that?
life.
What is that, Comic Sans?
Yeah, is that hieroglyphics? What are you doing in there? Like,
You're
yeah,
killing me, Fliss.
yeah, yeah. He's like, but you know, it just goes back to like the expectation management. And you got to have fun. Like, don't take anything too serious as you're getting out. Don't. You're going to make mistakes. Everything's going to be fine. Like, it's
Yeah,
going to be fine.
love that. Love that. Yeah, there's a whole lot more flexibility out here than
100%.
than in the military.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will tell you that you show up to work on time, no matter what job it is, you show up on time. and you show up ready to work, and every employer is going to love you because
Absolutely.
the 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 desire for duty, I guess you should say, just doesn't exist like it does like you're used to. Um,
Yeah.
and you show up on time with your phone in your pocket, not in your hands, and you're going to be just fine.
Yep. You show up, 10, 15 minutes prior in the right clothes, ready to
Yeah.
work with everything ready to go. Dude, it's gonna blow their minds.
Yeah.
Like, they're and dude, the company that I left, before we came up here, they started headhunting military guys because that was the product they were getting. Was the guys would show up ready to work.
Yeah.
They'd show up early, they would stay late, they would work hard, harder than anyone else. And so, like, we need more military guys.
Yeah.
And so and the company has exploded because of that. So
Yeah. And and again, so you're yeah, I keep saying my final thought, but my final thought is some advice was given to me too. Like, don't be afraid to take advantage of the benefits and the opportunities that are out there also for veterans. I think that was a hard thing for me, was accepting the quote unquote gifts of VA disability or loans or whatever it may be that you could find out there, or even getting your free Applebee's on Veterans Day, right? Like,
sure.
we always joke about that stuff, but don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take that stuff, because if it doesn't get used, it's not going to be given to others. And there's probably somebody out there that
Absolutely.
really needs that free Applebee's on Veterans Day that wouldn't get it any other way. Um,
Right.
and it's kind of like you go back to managing ammo, right? Like, if we don't shoot these rounds, we're not getting as much ammo
Right.
next year, and we don't know what we're doing
That's
next year
right.
yet. So we better make sure we have all the ammo, right? So,
Right.
you know, uh, don't be afraid to use it. I mean, you've worked your career, you've done your pieces. Don't take advantage, but use what you can.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I got yelled at for like 15 years by everyone who had, gone on and gotten a VA rating. And I was like all self-righteous, like, no, I'm okay. I'm
Yeah,
not broken, you know.
I didn't do
Well,
enough
come
to
to find
deserve
out,
this, and yeah, yeah,
right, right.
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't do enough or all the things. Um, but it all takes its toll.
yeah,
And so finally I went and started getting checked out on stuff, and sure enough, there's kind of a
yeah.
lot wrong with me. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's not one thing that stands out. There's just a lot to go with it, right? Like,
there's yeah, yeah. And dude, I'd also say, like, not to worry about there's a lot of rhetoric online, specifically people being like, "Oh, it must be nice to get that free disability," or whatever. And it's like, well, it must be nice to have a good lower back that works and like
yeah,
good
yeah,
knees.
yeah. To be able to get up from a seated position and stand straight up must be nice, or or to
Yeah,
not be, like, I have to stand up at certain times because whatever, it's
yeah, yeah.
and
No,
it,
that's a
it
great point, man.
yeah, it's just kind of funny. You see all those
Um,
videos and stuff of people talking about it, and it's fine. Use what you can.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Well, dude, I really appreciate you joining me, man. I know I probably kept you longer than you wanted to, but
Yeah.
I really appreciate you
Yeah.
being on here today.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'll send you some stuff, and good time talking. I think we got some good topics out there for discussion. At least create more discussion, because I think we miss out a lot of things that we don't fully understand. And just by starting a conversation, that really helps anybody more than anything, I think.
That's a true story, cause I've been there. Been hanging on a limb with no care. Just doing my thing, screaming nowhere. Like, who cares? I was out doing my things. Deep beneath trenches, boy,